Hello, the topic that we chose is fast food versus healthy options and neighborhood accessibility to food choices. This project will be presented by Allison Simmons, Myana Garrison, Teanna Anthony, and Sydney Travis. The reason that we chose this topic was because as students in the AUC, we've seen firsthand how areas like the West End and South Decatur lack access to fresh and affordable food, making them food deserts. And then in this presentation, we'll be highlighting how the limited healthy options and the overwhelming presence of fast food chains are affecting the well-being of our community. Okay, so the first place we're going to start with is McDonald's. McDonald's is one of the most accessible food options near the AUC and is located about 6 minutes from Spelman College. Because healthier grocery stores are limited in the West End, many students rely on places like McDonald's for quick and cheap meals. The problem is that the food served, like hamburgers, soda, and even fries, are packed with sodium, fat, and preservatives that can lead to serious health issues such as hypertension, obesity, and even heart disease over time. The lack of access to affordable, nutritious meals places students in a vulnerable position where their health is compromised simply because of where they live and what they can and cannot afford. Okay, now the second place we're going to talk about is Wendy's. Wendy's is a common stop for students looking for low-cost meals in the West End as well, especially with deals like the $5 Biggie Bag and even the 4 for 4. But like McDonald's, Wendy's offers highly processed foods and fried foods that are low in nutrients but very high in calories, salt, and sugar. When people in the community, especially students, are constantly exposed to these type of foods without access to healthier alternatives, it increases the risk of chronic illness like diabetes, heart disease, and even higher blood pressure. The over-reliance on fast food in underserved areas highlights the deeper issue of food injustice, and it continues to harm and raise concerns about the long-term health issues and the well-being of those living in these neighborhoods.
Okay, so for this third slide, this image depicts a Popeyes, a Taco Bell, and a gas station directly placed right next to each other on Lee Street, actually down the street from Spelman's campus. And what is not shown is across the street from the gas station is another gas station, and then there's a church's right there, Little Caesar's Pizza, and I think a little bit further down there's a wing place and a bunch of other fast food options for people in the community to have. And this image really draws attention to the issue of food deserts and the risks that they pose. Food deserts are places with limited access to wholesome, reasonably priced, and fresh food and nutritious food. And this is because of no supermarkets, no farmers markets, no access to the foods that we need. And these areas are flooded with these convenience stores and these fast food restaurants, and they have highly processed, high calorie meals. And these lead to diet related conditions like diabetes, heart disease, obesity, and in communities are usually targeted disproportionately due to the lack of healthy options, which continues the systemic cycles of malnutrition and long-term health inequities, which can affect other social determinants of health as well. And then our fourth image is just showing inside of that gas station that is located next to the Popeyes and the Taco Bell. And residents are forced to rely on these highly processed, sugar-filled, high-sodium snacks. There's nothing nutritious in the grocery store. As you can see, there's hot fries and chips on the shelves. And this is what residents are usually forced to consume instead of fresh food because that's what's nearby. As someone who does work at that Taco Bell and who does frequent that gas station, you see your regular residents that do live in the area. You see the high school and middle school students coming in, they're hungry after school, and instead of grabbing an apple, they're almost forced to grab a taco party pack of 12 tacos for their families, or they're forced to grab a bag of chips instead of an apple to fulfill their hunger after classes, after work. And it's just really sad to see the disparity play out in real life.
Old National Highway is a predominantly black neighborhood where the food landscape is heavily dominated by fast food chains. The pictures displayed on the slide show numerous fast food chains clustered closely together on Old National Highway, offering quick and inexpensive meals that are often high in calories, sodium, and fat. As you can see in the pictures, there's a church is right next to the Bojangles, and then directly across the street is McDonald's next to the Taco Bell. This abundance of fast food highlights a deeper issue, a lack of diverse and accessible healthy food options. From what I've observed, Walmart is the area's main grocery store, which serves as the primary source for fresh produce and household necessities. Usually, Walmart is known not to have produce of the best quality. Notably, Walmart shares its parking lot with the Popeyes, symbolizing how deeply fast food is embedded in the local environment. For many residents, especially those without reliable transportation, Walmart is the only major grocery option, and fast food becomes a more convenient and sometimes unavoidable choice. This concentration of fast food, paired with limited grocery options, raises concerns about food justice, community health, and long-term well-being.
This slide shows a picture of America's Food Basket on Candler Road. America's Food Basket reflects the limited food access in South Decatur. Though it's labeled a grocery store, it lacks fresh, affordable, and nutritious options. This image highlights how food deserts persist in predominantly Black and low-income areas. And this also shows that proximity to food doesn't always equal access to health. Because this store is located in a mostly Black working-class neighborhood, it definitely shows how race and income can affect the kind of food people can access. Oftentimes, having a store nearby isn't enough. It matters what's inside and whether people can use it to support their health. This ties into the social determinants of health because communities with less investment often deal with worse health outcomes. This still represents how some neighborhoods are given the bare minimum and are expected to make it work. It makes us think not just about where the grocery stores are, but whether they truly provide food justice. I feel like people tend to think food insecurity means access to food, period, when in reality, it's access to healthy and affordable food. Low-income areas are oftentimes neglected. Instead of putting a Whole Foods or maybe like a Sprouts in a low-income area, they'll slap, let's say, like a Family Dollar with a refrigerator section in it and insist that that's food options, when in reality, it's not healthy.
In contrast, this slide shows an image of Whole Foods, which is located in North Decatur. Just outside the photo frame, there's a Tesla dealership and an Emory hospital. Therefore, this area is far more affluent and predominantly white. And you can honestly see the investment that's been made in this community. Residents here have easy access to healthy food, luxury goods, and quality medical care, all within walking distance. It's a sharp contrast to Candler Road, and it shows how unequal access to resources can be. So on this slide, you can see the two images of the America's Food Basket on Candler Road and then the Whole Foods in North Decatur. And you can see the differences in the images. And also there's some facts that we've done research on. So the median household income on/near Candler Road /South Decatur is around $54,000. While in contrast, median household income in North Decatur is over $100,000. So the median income in North Decatur is basically double what it is in South Decatur. On this slide, you can see a chart which illustrates the median household income across different racial groups in Decatur, Georgia, which highlights the significant economic disparities. If you look at the chart, on the far left is white, and then right beside it on the right is Black or African American. And you can see, without even looking at the numbers, the vast difference in income just based off the bars. So another quick fact is, a study from Emory found that only about 36% of stores in majority Black neighborhoods carried fresh produce, compared to 85% in majority white areas.
So here we have some of the expectations and the realities that some people that may not live in these food deserts may think is what actually happens, but in reality, we just want to highlight what actually happens and how it plays out in our community. So people may think that Whole Foods, since Whole Foods is a 15-minute car ride from America's Food Basket, it's really not that far. People can make that drive. But in reality, even if one does make it to Whole Foods, the prices are significantly higher than those at America's Food Mart. And this is not accounting for the fact that gas costs money. Maybe somebody has to make a whole day out of this trip. We're not talking about the elderly or the disabled or any of those communities. And then people that's if somebody has a car. We're not even talking about the public transportation options that are available in the community. Someone may expect or think that Whole Foods accepts food stamps and EBT, so that should make it more accessible, correct? But no, in reality, people who do receive those SNAP benefits and those food stamps benefits, they're usually on a very fixed income. So sometimes they have to make whatever government assistance they do receive, they have to make it stretch. Usually these are whole entire families that are making these this government assistance stretch for, the betterment of their children, their whoever they're caring for, and etc. And that's just not the reality. So it makes more sense financially to buy a large amount of cheaper food than a small amount of expensive foods, even if it is risking their health and their wellness. Financially, it just is the best option.
So for our community engagement piece for our presentation, I volunteered at the Atlanta Community Food Bank not too long ago, and I feel that this experience showed me a more positive outlook of the food desert crisis in Atlanta, as I was a part of a solution for this issue. So while volunteering, I learned that the food bank donates over 90 million meals to low-income families across Atlanta. Not only do they provide meals, they make an effort to provide fresh produce as well. And a lot of times, the meals are sent directly to the family's doorsteps via meal delivery services such as DoorDash or like Uber Eats. So these efforts are especially important in addressing the food desert crisis, as they address the social determinants of health, such as a lack of transportation and financial barriers that might prevent people from having access to fresh and nutritious foods. Volunteering at organizations such as food banks is a good way to combat the issues of food insecurity and the lack of access to healthy food options.